What's up, fam? Welcome to Off the Reservation, a show that's all hopped up on Rockstar and a pound of pixie stick dust. And I'm ready to come at you like a spider monkey. I'm your number one wizard, Mal.
I'm Al.
And I'm the Son of Picasso.
Yeah, so, you know, that's
Pixie
spider
stick
monkey.
dust? I don't know if that's the...
The pixie stick dust, you know, it's the jumbo ones.
That sounds more aggressive than it actually is. Pixie stick.
And that's what I was trying to go for. We're coming at you like a spider monkey.
That is aggressive.
Okay. Aggressive spider monkey, pixie stick dust, Rockstar energy.
Yeah.
Energy drink.
Speaking of rock stars.
Yeah, so this today's episode is brought to you by Segways.
We're getting better at those. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So it's season 2. We're coming at you. Our first season, we had discussed music and our musical tastes and all the music appropriate things. But we wanted to go into a little bit more into the music. And if anyone doesn't know, Son of Picasso here, he actually comes up with all the music for us in the intros and outros.
Yeah, that's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy to just hear it like play at the beginning of the show, at the end of the show. Like, I'm like, whoa, I remember making that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you were saying you kind of have like a library, so to speak, of
like,
sounds that you've been creating.
I started
over the years,
making
right?
music pre-pandemic, right? And like it was more so just to go along with like Instagram posts. Because I started to get a lot of posts that were just like demonetized and taken down because I was like copyrights. And so finally I was like, I'll write my own.
Makes sense.
You almost got Vanilla Iced.
I did. And so then one thing led to another. And, here we are making podcast intros and show themes.
Yeah. No, it's cool because, I was like, hey, we need another song in this vibe, and then you're like, oh, let me check,
Yeah.
And it's like you've got so many, you're just kind of like, oh yeah. So it's kind of cool that you've got such a big library. I mean, it's a library of sounds.
It's cool. I didn't realize how rare it was, theme music, working with, the other people we had worked with. They were trying to figure out a theme song for their show intro, and I was like, so cool to not have that burden.
not have that worry. Yeah, you just had it already. It's kind of it's when you're creating a project, it's awesome when you just have all of the tools and everything that you need right there. And then it's cool when you hear it and you find it, you're like, that's the one,
And like, that's kind of how it happened. Like we were just scrolling through my phone. You guys were like clicking, doing editing. And I was like, what about this one? And like, you guys like, that's it.
Well, see, the theme from the first one was, it was more like a build up, more ominous,
Yeah.
And it kind of fit, because we were just starting and we were finding our way.
We had no idea.
But when we had an idea for shooting that intro for this second season, with the car and just the whole vibe of leaving and getting off the reservation, and going to the city, like we were like, we need something more like peppy, more upbeat, more
snappy.
like, I want it snappy. Something snappy. But once we found that one, and like I remember when I was editing it together and putting it all in, and I just had like that first two like shots of Malachi putting his key in the car, opening it, and then getting in there, and I put the music over it. I was like, oh, this is gold, guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna be gold. Like as soon as he hit play on
gold, Jerry,
that
gold.
cassette, and it just like boom, it started. I was like, this was the perfect song.
Like, I wish I had a time machine to like hop in it, go back to pre-pandemic, and be like, "You're writing that right now, bro, and it's gonna be on the TV show."
what is the process of actually doing that kind of a thing?
Oh man, it's a lot of computer programs, sampling, just clicking. You know what I mean? Sitting there for hours listening to beats.
Yeah,
it's really tedious, right? Like it can be really tedious if you're not like
you make music too, so
Yeah, like if you can't focus, it's hard because you know what you want to get, and you're searching for the right sound or the right beat or whatever, and it's like you gotta be focused enough to find it, because if you don't find it, it's real easy to like give up and just start to feel like, oh man, I need to take a break. And then I always do it where it's like I take a break, save the project, and then I don't go back to it for like a week.
So you have a whole bunch of half-finished projects too?
Yeah, and it's kind of a bummer because I'm like, man, I kind of wish I finished that.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll like come up with a bass line and I'm like, okay, this is something, right? And I'm like trying to like struggle with a guitar riff, and like I can't find the right sample, and I'm like, I'll just play it myself. I can do it. And then like I never have time to put equipment together.
Yeah, and that's another hassle is as someone making music at home, having the space for all of your equipment.
Oh yeah,
like taking it out, setting it all up. It's like a 30-40 minute process. And then you record for like 10 minutes, you lose your like gusto for the project, and then you're like and then you take a break and you're like, nah, I'm just gonna put it all away.
Yeah.
like I think I'm
your
done
wife
for the
looks
day.
at you and she's like, I gotta like do something in the living
She's like,
room.
yeah.
You gotta put this stuff away.
She's like, I'm sick of seeing this stuff here. Move it. You're like, dang it. But like
I guess so. Has hip hop always been one of the things that you've been interested in? I mean, I remember there was a point in time, like I got our Green Day CD from you.
See, I think the whole idea of hip hop, it has three extensions. It has, the verse, which is, rap, or, an MC, and then it has the dance part, which is, b-boying, breakdancing. And then there's the graffiti aspect, or the visual aspect of, the actual visual, the painting aspect of it. And so I was always attracted to all of those different aspects, growing up. And it was kind of like you had to master all three of those in order to like really be a part of hip hop, or at least feel like you're a part of hip hop. Yeah. And like, I could never, like, I didn't have that rhythm to like b-boy, but like I definitely could like draw. So like that really, like I just immersed myself into graffiti culture as a kid.
Wait, so you're native and you can't feel the beat?
I think that's why I like playing the drums, because it's cool to watch people dance to your music versus having to be the one to dance.
Well, I mean, we're gonna go take a short break right now, and we'll be right back to hear some more about music and music development.
This episode of Off the Reservation is brought to you by Bronzo, your #1 choice in indigenous tanner. For those moments when you need to be one shade darker.
Now offered in extra strength.
Bronzo!
And we're back after those short messages. So let's go ahead and just jump right back into this. We had brought up with you, Son of Picasso, your, the fact that you make all our openings and closings and transitioning music and everything. But you didn't always have a background and have a flair for the hip hop, right? Like you were
getting fancy with the words there. Flair.
After you threw out what was it? Spherical? Cyclical. I've been trying to thesaurus myself.
Thesaurus.
Anyways, so hip hop. You weren't always into hip hop at one point, right?
I'd have to say that it wasn't just like my sole focus of music. Like some people are just focused on like they only like rock, or they only like one specific genre.
Yeah, metal
you know
music.
What I mean? Yeah, and I've always had a broad spectrum of what I've liked. It's more so what music makes me feel when I hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I've always viewed it. And, as I was growing up, I think I listened to just multiple genres, going from like listening to Wu-Tang Clan and then going and listening to Rage Against the Machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those were like just
Rage Against the Machine.
Those were like two staples of my childhood. Skateboarding, just having fun,
fighting the system.
Oh yeah,
getting yelled at by security guards.
That middle class oppression.
Well, I mean
yeah.
that's like I feel like that's a staple of being like in the city, you know. You at one point, you know, you get a skateboard, you go ride around, you go to the mall, you go do things.
Yeah.
Everyone else got to do that. I didn't do it. I was very sheltered.
I have to say that one of like, I mean, I remember when a lot of really good music dropped, right? But I remember the first time I heard Sublime, right? Like the very first time I heard Sublime, it was like a ripped off CD of, you know, from one of my friends. And he's like, dude, you got to hear this. And like, I listened and I was like, what? This is just so sick. Like, and then, you know, being in New Mexico and having that, you know, Hispanic vibe to music and stuff like that, you know, they just played it a lot on the radio. And so you got to hear some really, really good songs. And, you know, being alive and hearing it drop, you know, every few weeks. And then, you know, it was a really cool experience, you know.
Because I think one of my favorite memories is when you had, what was it, the Sublime album, and we had the Sega Genesis, and it had, what's it called, the Jungle Book.
Oh yeah,
we had the Jungle Book game, and I don't know why, but like Santeria like went perfectly merged with like being able to play the Jungle Book video game, and we'd have it like pumping on our stereo, and you know, low enough that mom and dad wouldn't hear.
Oh yeah, that was, you know, you had to like play it under the radar because you know.
Well, the house you guys grew up in was pretty like. There wasn't a whole lot of room, so it was like you couldn't.
Oh, it was a 2-bedroom.
Yeah, you couldn't be in your room blasting your music because everybody would hear it. That's just the way it was, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the walls were thick though. That was the thing. Is like it was an old school house, like back when they made the walls out of.
They just don't make them like they used to. You know?
Not like
stand
that.
an
No.
atomic blast.
yeah. So like, at what point did you get into making your own music? When like, how did you? Because everybody listens to music, but not everybody takes a step to actually start creating music.
You know, like I said before, it really, I don't want to say got serious, because I don't think any musician is serious, right? You get to it because you like what you do, but you know, I started to really
focus on it.
Yeah, put more efforts into editing and mastering the music, right? Because it's one thing to produce it, make it, but then to like put in, you know, your equalizers and make sure things aren't, you know, going into the red, when
clipping out and everything.
Yeah, you know, I'd have to say within the past 3 years is when I really started to make the production value better, and you know, make sure the sonics are lined up.
Sonic. You got hedgehogs all over the place.
Got a whole lot of hedgehogs around here. Yeah. So like, as far as like when you create your music, like say like with some of the music that we've done here, you said you tend to start with like, do you start with your bass line or do you start with a beat first?
I, you know, especially, you know, being a drummer, you know, I always start with the drums first. I think that's the soul of the song, you know, and then, you know, sometimes I'll look for a sample. Sometimes I'm just like, this isn't coming out how I want. I'll just play it myself. Like, it's funny. I played that one, you know, speed metal song for you guys. Yeah. And I was like, this one got me kicked out of Guitar Center. Because, like, sometimes it was easier to go in there pre-pandemic and just, like, plug in your phone and, like, start playing and, like, record there. And they're like, this guy's just coming in and just terrorizing my equipment. So,
you said that you went in there, and because for those of you who've never been inside a Guitar Center, they have like a drum section, and sometimes they put like a electronic drum sets, and you can ask for sticks, and they'll let you go test them out, you know, and you were telling us that story about you going in there and like, so you plugged your phone in and you were recording.
I was going to town, and they were like, oh man, you're not just demoing the equipment. You're really just you're really just using us.
Look, we don't mind, but you're gonna have to pay us. It's $30 for the first hour.
Oh, I was going in and spending like 20 minutes of time in like the acoustic guitar section, like sampling acoustic guitars and like acoustic bass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like once you get the beat, then you kind of, does the song start to evolve and you kind of know where it's going to go? Yeah.
And then, you know, I don't want to talk bad about hip hop, but eventually it all loops. You know what I mean? So you make your little section, and then with how computers are, you can just cut and splice and
Yeah, you can replay
Yeah.
a quick
just loop
Yep.
stuff.
yeah. Well, like I mean, I don't know. The music that you've got for the show is pretty awesome, and like I don't think I didn't have an idea that you had that. You know what I mean? That you were really working
Yeah.
on some of your music, and you started showing us. I was like, wow, this is good. Like this is good stuff, man. Like we could put this on the
Thanks,
show.
man.
You know?
Thanks.
And honestly, I mean, we even had people like messaging in and being like, "Hey, where can I get this?" And
Yeah.
we're like, "We'll figure it out."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're gonna have to start get some of your stuff out.
Like
on,
the intro music, right? Like I had this whole idea for electric powwow music, right? Like
Yeah.
I had this whole, at least that was like what my whole, I guess, muse was thinking about, like
and that comes across
the
it does, dude.
evolution of
Yeah.
powwow
Yeah.
music and like what we're going to be listening to in the future, you know, and then just merging, you know, modern hip hop with, you know, traditional, that melodic tune that you know, native music has for
Yeah.
the
Yeah, yeah.
repetition of drums. So yeah, I'm glad that came across. Cool. It's cool to
Feel
hear.
that.
Nice. Well, hey, we're gonna take another quick break, and we will catch you guys
On the flip side.
On the flip side. All right.
Side B.
Hey guys, it's El. Just wanted to say thanks for watching the show, and wanted to make sure that you guys remember to rate, review, and subscribe, all three. But now we're at a fourth one, share. I want you to share it with your friends and family, all right? So again, thanks for checking us out. I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and let's get back to it.
And we're back from outer space. Maybe not outer space, but I mean, we're back from those wonderful messages.
Yes.
And this
Yepers.
episode we covered the, you know, Son of Picasso here, talking about his artistic process and how we're and creating the opening and exiting tracks and all the intermission tracks. But Elliot, you are actually a musician as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
A musical artist.
Indeed.
Musical genius.
And so I guess, you know, on one hand, we got Son of Picasso, who has, you know, a flavor of hip hop and hip hop history and hip hop accessories.
A flair, if you will.
A flair.
Hey, when did you develop that flair?
I'm like, what?
But you here actually played, you know, guitar and was in a band.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why don't you tell us about your band days? You know?
Band-Aids?
Yes.
Yeah, no. So we kind of shared about music and I went a little bit, but like we used to all play in the church band together, in like the worship band.
For Jesus.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't play for money. I play for Jesus.
That's
Oh,
exactly
but
what it goes.
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, we started that, and then in high school I started there was like a couple bands with a couple different people, and we were just trying to, at the time, like I wanted to make like a kind of like a pop punk band.
Yeah.
Because that was just like that was a big thing at the time, and a lot of
Like
my
Huck Nelson?
yeah, not like just like Hawk Nelson. Like, have you ever heard Motion City Soundtrack? Or
Yes.
The Wonder Years,
The
things like
Oneaters?
that. Some a little bit more like
Yeah.
more rock, less pop, but in that same realm. Anyways, so there was 5 of us, and you know everybody kind of had their own like style that they wanted to play. You know, which is always tricky when you're in a group with people because you know everybody has different opinions. Everybody wants to do something different.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and trying to like juggle it all together can be kind of tough. But we ended up like, you know, we made a little like EP of like 6 songs. Really took the time to like, you know, we gathered equipment and recorded. And that was like, recording was the thing that I really enjoyed. You know,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed putting it all together.
Yeah.
You know, we were doing like individual tracks, you know, guitar, vocals, drums, and my friend, the drummer, it was kind of cool because he had his own set of like drum mics, you
Yeah.
know. So he had like his acoustics set up, and then he would do the drum mics on there. And this was all like very early on. I didn't know how to do like a lot, like I had
Yeah.
only just, I was in college first time I had my computer, and I was just playing around with GarageBand.
Yeah, you were just a dude with cables.
Yeah, like we knew how to plug it in. We knew how to make sure that the signal was coming through, and then we recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of fun to go back. I still have those files of
You
the
got 'em.
originals, and every now and then I want to like try to like remaster them, do something different.
We should post them on the Instagram.
Yeah, I think we still have our YouTube up.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's called The League.
The
League.
League.
Yeah, we were the League band. And anyways, we had a good time. But that was the first time I ever tried recording, was with those guys, And we all kind of like learned with each other, like what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah.
And then over the years, since then, I've just kind of been working towards that. But I like, for me, most of the stuff that I do is like it's in that rock realm. But I totally get what you mean. Like when you say like you want to start with like drums, like that's you want the drums kind of drive the song, and depending on what type of beat, like if the beat changes, to set a different, like breaking into like to break the song up, like the drum is kind of telling that story, which is cool, because like you could start off real tough and that like real fast, and then bring it down for like the bridge or something, and it's like the way that beat changes, like really just like it makes the song.
For those of you that don't know, like Elliot can almost play any instrument. Like it's nuts. Like I remember like watching you play the drums for the Spanish church that used to come. And anybody that knows Spanish music knows like how fast they play. Like their church music is just as fast. And like I remember seeing Elliot just like get into the field and come back around, and like I'm just like, wow, how does he even know this song? You know what I mean?
Well, and okay, so and the fact is that you didn't just play guitar, you didn't just play drums, but you also started playing the piano, and like you were in like the last I remember, you were like learning how to play piano and like being able to transition between all these instruments. I was like, dude, who are you?
Like what's really cool is having a computer that has that ability to like play around with those different kinds of instruments, and then listening to music and understanding like, okay, there's a difference. Like they're adding strings in here, or they're adding like that's an acoustic guitar, that's electric guitar. Like just understanding the different instruments and components inside a song is really cool. And then like when I was younger, all I wanted to do was to know how to play these different, because every like music is what is it like? It's like 12 notes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and it's just that's it across the board. They all repeat different octaves, but it's that. And like
it's just how you arrange
every
them,
instrument, exactly. Every instrument has those, and it's like, how are you going to put them together? Basically, it's like a puzzle. Like, how am I going to put it all together?
Yeah.
So, like that was kind of fascinating to me, And I remember trying to explain that to my dad, about like, you can make chord variations on the guitar. It's this and this, and he was just kind of like, oh, well, you mean this is the same as this? I'm like, yes, and it's like, but he was like, I don't. I'll play it like this. Okay, so yeah, it's like the idea of music theory is exciting to me. It's kind of cool. And like you said, it all kind of translates over. So, but I think the cool thing is that you and I have both had the opportunity to pursue that, because a lot of people don't, like we said, a lot of people don't. So that was kind of exciting for me. But yeah, that's kind of my little, my flair into music there, and how that recording all went.
Yeah, and I think that's our show for today.
Yeah, that was it, guys.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys ever want to see the two of them maybe put some music together, leave a comment,
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Interact with us. We are people. We are human.
We are people, yeah.
But remember, as always, to rate, review, and subscribe.
Yes.
And thanks to Cash Nelson, he also informed us that we should be getting you guys to share our stuff. I mean, share it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. He wants you guys to rate, review, subscribe, and share. So, Cash,
Remember to share.
this one's for you, buddy.
And
With that, we'll close out the show.
all right.
All right, guys. Thanks
See
so
you guys
much.
next time.
Yes. See you next week.